we help make those dreams come true. And then the other part of my business is I act as a consultant to companies and producers in the outdoor industry for anything you can imagine. Sometimes it's marketing, sometimes it's sales, sometimes it's reviewing marketing plans, sometimes it's just straight business. When people are looking, I do a lot of investor research calls when people are looking to see what's happening in the outdoor industry. A lot of those questions come across my desk.
Gotcha. So what's your primary focus?
I would say my primary focus is the consulting and PR. I mean, that's my bread and butter. That's what I do the most of, and especially this year, just because we're in a virtual world, right now.
And these are unique challenges that have never happened before.
Yeah. I'm very lucky. I've been a little ahead of the curve because I've been a consultant for such a long time. I've been very familiar with video conferencing. I've been very familiar with, Skype calls and things like this, interviews over the internet or over the phone. And, I do a lot of my business computer to computer rather than face to face. Although if you want to call this face to face, we're as face to face as we can get right now. Right.
Yeah.
So
that being said, you're ahead of the curve because you're doing a lot of video conferencing and stuff like that before COVID shut the world down.
Right.
But how has that affected your business and your business relationships, or your employees that work for you?
Well, I stopped having employees back in 2000. I think it was 13, 14. Whenever the Obamacare, whenever the Unaffordable Care Act, as I like to call it, came into play. At that time, I had a couple of minor employees, and we severed ties there just because I couldn't continue to pay the fees that they were looking at for health care. So now it's just me, and I use all contractors and other independent business people. But I can tell you that COVID has dramatically affected one of the center portion of my business, which is World Game Hunts. I mean, we lost 100% of our African hunters this year. So something like 16 hunting parties, which was a good chunk of change. Of those 16 hunting parties, we rescheduled 3 for 2021. But everybody else got a deposit returned, we had to let them cancel and back out. And they said, well, maybe we'll reschedule, but we're going to see how this shakes out and see if we're even going to go now. Because a lot of people are very, very scared to travel still, even though it seems like this is not a huge deal. They didn't want to make any commitments one way or the other. So we're down basically 13 parties. And if you know anything about the safari business, that's a good chunk of change. Not to mention Australia, Africa, or New Zealand. We had their people back. We basically lost almost all of our bookings until late September, which is the United States bookings.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know the safari business, but my girlfriend and I had a Alaska cruise, a 7-day Alaska cruise planned for the second week of July, and we were looking forward to that for a year, and that went down the toilet as well.
Yeah, and that happens. I'll tell you, the biggest concern that most people have is that they're going to get sick. They're going to get sick away from home, So even the places that are more advanced, the places that are much more comparatively, Europe is more advanced than Africa, right? Even in places like Europe, people are still terrified to travel there. And within the United States, people still aren't traveling like they did previously. So yeah, it's been it's affected my business relationships. I before our call today, I was on the phone with my, with our hunting concession in South Africa and our professional hunter over there. And he said, things are dire. They're doing whatever they can to make it through this year. And that means much more farming than game hunting. So,
what exactly are your safaris going for? What hunts are you providing?
Pretty much when it comes to Africa, you name it, everything from the big five. So lion, leopard, rhino, Cape buffalo, and what's the other big five? Rhino, lion, leopard, rhino, Cape buffalo, and is it crocodile, I believe.
Right.
Or no, elephant. What am I thinking? Elephant. So it's lion, leopard, rhino, Cape buffalo, and elephant are the African big five. And sometimes they'll add the big seven, which is crocodile and hippo. And that, believe it or not, hippo is dangerous game.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Yeah. And everything from that down to, believe it or not, we do quite a few bird hunting safaris in Africa for francolin, sand grouse, and guinea fowl, and some waterfowl hunting there, and everything in between. All the plains game, everything. We have areas that we hunt in and around southern Zimbabwe, all over Africa, all over southern Africa, I should say, South Africa. Pretty much our philosophy is it can be arranged. Whatever you want, it can be arranged. So
gotcha.
Touring,
How have you adjusted your business in this time period? I mean, if you've lost a large chunk of your gross revenues from the center of your business, what have you done to adjust your business to what we've all had to deal with as business owners?
I've focused more in the other areas. I'm doing a lot more of managing of company pro staff and pro teams now, and that's been kind of a big part of my business for a long time. If you have a company in the outdoor industry and you want a very economical way to generate content, generate sales, generate social media buzz, all of which reinforces your brand message that leads directly to sales, call me. That's what we do. We're very good at it. And I've been doing it longer than a great deal of the other places out there. I'm not aware of any agencies that specialize in that like I do. There may be one. I don't claim to know everything, but we've been doing that since basically 2006, and it's very successful. It's a great way to really stretch your marketing budget. I'm finding that a lot of the companies now that did not get to go to any of the outdoor shows are finding it to be a tremendous benefit, because now they can still have people in those areas and the places where they would have been that are promoting their message to the local stores, the local people there, and et cetera. So yeah, very, very big part of my business, and something I'm doing more. I'm doing much more writing this year than I have in the past. I've picked up an online retailer client that I'm really excited about. They're actually a relatively new website. They're called thebestshootingsite.com. And on thebestshootingsite.com, they have all kinds of accessories and such for shooting. The only thing they don't sell is they don't sell guns or gun parts. And they don't sell ammunition. They actually were in the ammunition business and got out of the ammunition business after, ironically, right before COVID hit. It would have been a great time to be in the ammunition business right now because it's selling faster than it can be made. But overall, the ammunition business is a very high volume, low margin business. So we are now in the online retail business, and I bring experience working with several past clients, several long-term clients, and some big clients to that partnership. And again, very excited about it. It's a brand new project for me. It's been a long time since I've taken a company from the ground up like that, brand new to something big. So I'm really excited about that. And those are the main areas I'm focusing. People that know a lot about me know that my focus can change quickly if it needs to, but that's where I'm at now.
Well, I can tell you that having an outdoor brand myself, that I get a lot of requests to be, pro staff. And basically I'm asking them, I'm great. You're the greatest fisherman on earth, but what's your social media look like? How many followers do you have? Do you find those to be key metrics?
It can be. And the problem with social media is that it works. And everybody says, what does that mean? Well, the problem is that people have had success with it. They've had sometimes great success with it for a very little cost. And now that things are starting to come around and be monetized, like Facebook ads and if you're in the gun and shooting business, like most of my businesses, it's actually very difficult to do business with Facebook because you can't do ads, you can't do Google ads, you can't do, you have to be very careful what you put on your social media or they'll shut your page down. Right. And with the push of a button, tomorrow, anybody on social media could be out of business. You can have one employee at Facebook that doesn't like something that you said in a post, doesn't like the fact that you hunt or fish, doesn't like the fact that you like, the ultimate organic food, and literally with the flip of a switch, shut down your entire business if you're doing everything on social media. So it's funny. I'm not a huge social media fan. Even though I'm on social media, I do a lot with social media. My attitude is, diversity is security. You want to have as many different diverse methods of marketing your business as you can, and don't put all your eggs in one basket. Now, should you have social media? Absolutely. Should you do social media well? Absolutely. But it isn't the end all cure all. And I hate when I hear things like, well, how many followers do you have? Because I've gotten tremendous results from guys with a couple hundred followers apiece, more so than guys with 10,000 followers. And the difference is the guys that have a few hundred followers, they're local. They're trusted guys. They're guys that know their buddies. Think about it. If someone has 100,000 followers on Instagram and they say, oh, I love this product. This is the great product. I only use this product. Everybody knows those guys are pushing that product because they're paid, and they're paid a lot of money. But when your buddy says, hey, I like this product, I've got some experience with them, I know the guys that run it, it's pretty good, pretty good operation, that carries more weight. And we've actually taken a company from under $500,000 in sales to over $6 million annually in sales with just that kind of message and those kinds of people. So when people ask me that question, I say, you know what? I have no concern what people's followers are. If you have 100,000 followers, that's great. What's it going to cost me to get that message out? Because if you're going to charge me per follower, I'm not interested. I'm interested in you, your opinion, your skill, and your content.
So so you're not looking for numbers of followers, you're actually looking for engagement.
Correct. I would rather have somebody that's highly engaged, that gives me a good piece of content or two every week. That's from it's very cliche, but from the heart, something they believe. I find that people that are believers are better salespeople. They sell more product. When you believe in a product, it's easy to sell it. When you don't know a product, it's easy to see that you don't know a product. And some of these guys jump from product to product so quickly that they've just lost the trust factor. So now I still use a lot of those guys. I still have clients that want those people with 200,000 Instagram followers, but just as effective are my team of pro staffers that, there's 40 of them across the country that do a great job and do great promotions.
Because their followers are engaged.
Not only are their followers engaged, but they provide great stuff. They provide value to the client. For example, one of the pro staffers I recruited for a client, turned out his business is producing short highlight videos. That's what he did for a living. Well, as you can imagine, the stuff he put up for them was fantastic. Stuff that might cost them $5,000 or $6,000 to have professionally produced. They got all that for free. Right?
Wow.
And the cool factor was there because it was some really cool stuff. There's a lot of people out there with a lot of skills that are just dying for the opportunity to show how good they are and what kinds of things they can do. And, this particular pro staffer was one.
And this is predominantly videos they're doing?
His is, but I have other guys that are, some like, for example, I'll use myself as an example. I'm really big on LinkedIn. It's where we connected, right? And I was connected. I became large on LinkedIn because of basically blind luck. I got involved in LinkedIn when it was just mostly a site for techie people. There wasn't a whole lot of value to it. It wasn't what it is today for sure. And I said, you know what? This is kind of cool that I can make these groups. Maybe I can take and start a group, and maybe I'll meet some other guys that like what I like to hunt and fish and do that kind of stuff. So I started a group called Hunting, Fishing, and Outdoor Professionals. And I said, this group is for people that make at least part of their living in the outdoor industry. At one point, it was the largest single concentration and organization of those people on the web. Now, again, it's likely not now, but back then it was all there was. And because of that, a lot of us developed a bond, and I've developed a lot of close working relationships with people that I was on LinkedIn. As a matter of fact, I would go to SHOT Show and people would be like, Ace, you're the LinkedIn guy. It's kind of funny. Yeah. So I never thought of myself as the LinkedIn guy. It was just a tool that I used.
Right.
So,
well, to move forward, so you've got your primary business, and so now you're more focused on using kind of the old school method of having pro staff guys that are actually out there physically doing things. Now, other than just being on social media, what are they doing?
There are hundreds of local outdoor shows, regional local outdoor shows, local outdoor shows that the average company can't possibly attend all of, right? There's just not enough manpower to do that. When they work with us, they have somebody who is knowledgeable about their product, who is trustworthy, who they know they're dealing with a legitimate business person that's managing these people, and they attend all those shows. They also can help sales reps. Sales reps in the outdoor industry have tremendously large territories. They can't possibly be everywhere at once. So when they have 8 different stores that they sell products to that are all having events on the same weekend, they get to pick one that they're at, right?
Right.
Well, when you have someone that's trained in your product and trained to sell and is very knowledgeable about what your product is used for, that's a great selling advantage to you, especially when, quite frankly, a lot of the guys there are just some guy that's being paid to stand there and pass out brochures or, maybe answer a question or two or have someone look at a product, right? We take it beyond that. Our pro staffers are, when they work with a company, they are trained on those products almost like a salesperson.
Well, let me ask you then, for anybody that's watching this that might be considering going down that avenue and maybe calling you on the phone, what are we looking budget-wise? I mean, do you have budgets for regional businesses, national businesses, people that only deal, like in California, the West Coast and the East Coast? What's your business model?
I have worked with companies that were fresh out of the gates that had thousands of dollars in sales. And I've worked with companies that have had hundreds of millions of dollars in sales.
And that's what I'm saying. So, from a budgetary point of view, how do you determine what that budget's going to be? Is it a monthly budget, quarterly budget, annual?
Oh, I get it. Yeah. We work with however they set their budget is how we work with them. But when you boil it all down, it goes to a set monthly fee based on the number of people that are what's the word I'm looking for? That are recruited, retained, and trained.
Gotcha. So you're looking at like $1,000 a month, $10,000 a month for like your small startup business.
The answer is yes.
Okay.
When I tell everybody, the answer is always yes.
So what you're saying is your model is you've got to go and look at each individual business and then come up with a custom plan.
Correct.
Got it. Okay.
Correct. Because obviously when you're dealing, like, for example, let's say you're dealing with a huge company, and full disclosure, I don't work with this company, but let's say, or right now I don't work with this company. Let's say Remington Firearms, right? Large company, right? Obviously that's going to be a lot different scenario than, say, Joe's Bait and Tackle.
Right.
Or even, my current client, thebestshootingsite.com. Yeah, they're a startup. They've got budget, they've got things, but they're not a multi-billion-dollar manufacturer that has budget.
Right. Yeah.
So
got $100 million a year advertising budget.
Correct. And the nice thing is I can scale up or down with whatever they need. You know, I'm partnered in several areas of my business, and my partners and I did content marketing for companies like Cheaper Than Dirt, pretty big outfit. You know, Mid-South Shooter Supply, pretty big outfit. You know, we managed their content marketing programs. That's what they wanted us to do. So that's what we scaled in to do. And we have people that write, professional writers that write articles that we pay, that produce quality content, engaging content, and brings those people in. Because your typical, and this is not to get off track, but it's another area that we work in, your typical newsletter that you get from pick any company in the outdoor industry, right? What is your typical e-newsletter that comes to you? It's, hey, buy my stuff. My stuff is great. Here's my stuff that's on sale this week. Click here for this amount off this week only if you buy this, this, and this, right? That's the template for 90% of the stuff that goes out weekly to people. Whereas we produce quality content that talks about, hey, it's summertime. So what are we doing in the summertime? We are going out and getting our rifles ready for the fall. We're, cleaning our guns. We are prepping. Maybe we got new bow this year and we're setting it up for the fall hunt, right? We're hunting south of the equator because it's an opposite season, right? So these are the articles that we're posting out there, and here's what we're doing. Here's how to do it. Here's how you can do it, right? And then we product drop. We drop products that are for sale with the company. Sometimes there's none. Sometimes there's 5 in an article. We don't set up because it's never about strictly the sale. It's about delivering a quality product, quality content that makes people want to engage, that trusts the business that they're working with. That's the number one thing we do. We build trust.
Do you have a formula? For example, I tend to try to create 3 pieces of quality content, and then the 4th piece will be the ask.
Yeah, I'll tell you, it depends on what it is. I tend to operate on a 5-to-1 or 10-to-1. Okay. If I'm asking, right. If I'm asking, sometimes I'll ask 3 times in a row, but then I'll deliver a lot of value. Right. It just depends on what you're trying to do and what you're doing. But everyone's like, what's your equation for success? I'm like, oh, the equation for success is easy. It's A plus B equals profit. That's ACE plus budget equals profit for you.
Right. I totally understand. I mean, you got in today's marketplace with everybody getting bombarded, with 800 different, people asking them to buy things. And it's funny that you brought up Cheaper Than Dirt, because I just got a shipment from them today.
Very nice.
Yeah. But you're right. If I look at their emails every day or at least once or twice a week, they're always discount, buy this, Yep. So
yeah, well, that's their regular email. But if you subscribe to their blog, if you subscribe to their normal newsletter that goes out, that newsletter will have 5 pieces of quality content every week.
See, now I've got to take notes because I just learned something. Yeah. I'll look at it just because I want to take a look at what they're doing marketing-wise.
Very interesting thing to do, and that's something that if people want to look at that model was built by my partners and I. For that project, I did the advertising sales for that, and I also wrote and produced content. But that's something we can easily scale up or down for any company.
Yeah.
Oh, and if you're an outdoor writer, that's another thing is I employ outdoor writers. So
it's interesting that I've been a customer of theirs for probably 6 or 7 months now and didn't know they had a blog.
Yep, blog.cheaperthandirt.com.
Yeah, I'll take a look at it. So let's move on to the next portion is eventually our economy is going to get back to normal.
Yes.
So what's your plan, I guess, to recapture that part of the business that just completely evaporated?
It's funny you asked that. Obviously, I'm a firm believer in being successful is in a great part being prepared, right? The best thing for me about this whole COVID nonsense is that it has forced me to do a ton of things that I've been meaning to do and get done and get set up when I'm normally too busy to do it, right? Comparatively to what I normally do every day, right? So, for example, and I don't know if you're doing this or not, but my screen's going a little wonky. Is that you?
No, I've got you crystal clear. Yeah.
All right, good. At least it's coming through on your end because it went a little crazy.
Okay.
For example, I'm looking, I have several bids out to redo my website right now. I'm looking at, I just talked to a very, very, very high level marketing person. And we're talking about a project starting in possibly as little as 2 weeks that we're going to offer because of the COVID, and two people that are looking to rebound and take advantage when other people are not doing anything. One of my biggest concerns, especially with my existing clients, is when I hear the words, we need to pull back now, right? The economy, we need to pull back. I'm like, that is the last thing you want to do right now, right?
Correct.
Because
I couldn't agree with you 100%. Now it's time to hit the accelerator.
Yeah, always look at what everyone else is doing and do the opposite. And that's been one of my keys to success, because all the big companies right now, all the large companies are saying, well, we're going to pull back our marketing. We're going to maybe do less television advertising or less radio advertising, or maybe we're not going to sponsor as many shows, or maybe we're not going to do as many trade shows, when now every one of their competitors has a chance to swipe those customers from them. Because if you are not where your customer is, your competitors might be. And if your competitor's there, they're going to win. And it all relates right back to my whole business model is you can't be everywhere. So why not have a team that's of professionals managed professionally for your benefit for a fraction of the budget than if you did it yourself? You can't possibly hire someone for as little money as it costs to have me manage your team. Can't do it. It can't be done. I've looked at it everywhere, and quite frankly, have had people try. They just can't.
I think that comes down to probably the biggest skill that any business owner needs to understand is the difference between working in their business and working on their business.
Very smart words. Very smart words.
It's one of those things that you want to take on another project, and you don't realize that you've only got X amount of hours, and a lot of times it's much more efficient time-wise and financially to bring in an expert that's what they do.
It's so funny because I cut my teeth in the advertising world years ago, having started my career, believe it or not, in the pharmaceutical industry. And when the pharmaceutical industry took a tank, I went to the advertising world. I worked for a very large publisher, one of the largest publishers in the world. Then I went to work for another very large publisher. And one of the analogies I used all the time was, when you have a toothache, you don't get your pliers out and try and do it yourself. You go to a dentist.
Yeah.
Why don't you just do it yourself? It's a pair of pliers is $4, right? A bottle of vodka to knock yourself silly is what $10? So we're at $14. You go to the dentist to have it pulled, it's probably $600. Maybe it's less. Maybe it's $300 to get a tooth pulled, right? Why would you do that? Why would you go to the dentist? Because he's the expert, right? Yeah. I don't perform my own surgery, right? I don't cut. If I needed to have if I needed to have my gallbladder removed, I wouldn't clean myself up with iodine and sterilize one of my knives and cut myself. I wouldn't do that. Right. I go to the hospital. I go to the doctor because they're the expert, right? And it's amazing. Someone puts on a white coat. They did a very thorough psychological study, and they had people, just normal people, talking on various topics, and then they rated their degree of trustworthiness. There were two things that really stood out to me from that study. and I'm going to look that up so I have the actual name of the study and the people that did it. But it was fascinating. The two things that stood out to me the most were people inherently don't trust people with facial hair.
That's a fact.
Think about that. They inherently don't. The fact, if you have a mustache, a goatee, those are the two least trustworthy. And believe it or not, the guys with the great big beards, of all the facial hair, those are the ones that have the most trust. I don't know why, it just is, right? So they don't trust people with facial hair, and they intuitively trust somebody wearing a white lab coat. Two people could say the exact same thing, unrelated to anything medical, but when that person has a white lab coat on, we are trained to trust them. There was one more. There was a third thing too. People automatically have a higher level of respect and will listen more intently to someone that wears a suit.
Yep.
Now think about that.
I've seen that. I've actually seen studies, might have been like 2020 or something like that. They take an actor and they dress him down to look like a bum, and he panhandles and makes like, $50 for the day. You take the same guy, clean him up, and you put him in a suit, and the guy, collects like $1,000.
Yeah. Because people trust that. We've been trained to trust people. People that wear suits are respectable people, right?
Yeah, I agree 100%, totally. Yeah.
I feel odd just in a polo right now because many, many, many days, even I take all kinds of I don't know the proper terminology, but I take a lot of ribbing from other people in the outdoor world for how I dress because I'm often in a sport coat. Now, sometimes I'll have an open collar and a dress shirt, but very often I wear a tie. If I have a business meeting, I am in a suit, period. If we're going to talk business, I wear a suit. And everyone says, why do you wear a suit? Because why risk it?
Yeah.
It's the same reason why I don't grow facial hair, right? Why risk it?
Yeah.
Why risk it? Why risk somebody prejudging me on my appearance? When the president of the United States gets up and addresses Congress in jeans and a t-shirt or jeans and a polo, then I'll believe we're in a casual society, right? When your doctor walks in flip-flops, and cut off jean shorts and a tank top, then I'll believe we're in a casual society. I don't know about you. My doctor wears that white coat with a shirt and tie.
Right. Yeah.
So.
Speaking of that, about how business is being conducted, how can you see what our country has gone through in the last 3 months? How, once things normalize or get back to the new normal, what do you see is going to be fundamentally changed for businesses going forward?
I think we're going to do a lot more remote business than we ever have before. I think a lot of businesses that believed they had to have an office that everybody comes to every day are at the least going to scale down their presence in those places and at the most cut them out entirely. Ironically, one of those big publishers that I worked for, they eventually moved down to the model. We had not one, not two, but three very large offices in the Chicagoland area, four very large offices in the Chicagoland area. And over the several years that I worked there, they went from 4 to 2 to 0. And they just had they had a main office, which actually was a conference room and a couple of meeting rooms. That was the office, right? And then people came in for meetings. That was it. Everyone else worked from home. I have a computer, I have a printer, I have a fax. I have everything that I need at the office, and quite frankly, less distractions. No commute time.
What part of California are you in?
I would certainly not be in any part of California as a citizen or resident.
That's right. You're in Arizona, but you're in Phoenix, right?
I am. I'm in the Phoenix Valley.
All right. And like I said, I'm an Arizona Wildcat, and I was there almost 30 years ago now. But what's traffic like in Phoenix?
Certainly better than it is in Chicago.
Or Southern California.
Or millions of times better than California. I mean,
the point I'm trying to make is you're not spending 40 to 50 minutes in your car one way to go to an office. Think about the people that spend 2 hours of their day every day wasted sitting in a car.
Yep.
And
it's fun. I discovered that a long time ago. I started my business in 2006 and realized, boy, if I really want to do things, I'm going to have to do something where I'm not traveling a long way to an office or making people travel to see me in an office. At heart, I'm a salesperson. So I have a salesperson's mentality. I want to get things done as expeditiously as possible so I can move to the next task or the next customer or the next thing, or serve my customer in the most efficient and effective way, because I don't want them to lack for my time or my attention, right? So the most valuable thing we have is time. You can't buy more. No. Bill Gates, he has the same 24 hours that you and I do, right? That's right. Donald Trump, another great example. Donald Trump gets up every morning at like 3:50 a.m. and he goes to bed at like 11:30 p.m. Right?
Yeah, he gets like 4 hours of
sleep a night, right?
Yeah.
But he's very effective. He does a lot of stuff. I am up and going every morning by 5:15. I'm up at 5. I am going doing something by 5:15. Sometimes that's a walk. Sometimes it's heading to the gym. Sometimes it's sitting doing quiet reflection. This morning, it was turning in an article and getting invoices out that had stacked up from the last several weeks, right? When you're doing that at 5:15, there's people on the East Coast. It's 8 a.m. I'm doing business.
That's right.
Right? I can work. I was on the phone at 6:10 this morning. 6:10, I was in my desk, ready to go on the phone talking to people. And that's when you do that, and then you realize you can burn the rest of the day and work through 5 or 6 o'clock, right, in my local time. You get a lot more done and a lot more accomplished. I probably have, on average, on a slow day, I'm on 20 phone calls. That's a really slow day.
Yeah.
On a busy day, I might be on 50.
Yeah.
And with that kind of schedule, it's kind of hard. You have to be very, very conscious of your time, and you have to be able to work in the most effective manners possible with what you have. And to relate back to your question, the rest of the world is catching up to that, and they're going to with this. Like Zoom is a big, I know we're not using Zoom right now, but Zoom is a meeting platform that a lot of people are familiar with now. And it's grown something ridiculous, like 260% since COVID-19.
In 2 months.
Came out. In 2 months, right.
Yeah.
Right. Because everyone's using it, right? Yeah. And now everyone's seeing how easy this is. Like, imagine, it used to be, I travel heavy. I travel probably 20 weeks a year, sometimes 30. Mm-hmm. And the less I have to travel, the more time I have to do to be productive. Right. Sometimes I unplug and I get away from all that. But
as a salesperson, I've managed what I consider large sales teams of 60, 70 people. And when I was training, I told the salespeople, unless you're sitting in front of somebody speaking about your product or service, you're not working. Yep. Your job as a salesperson, you're only working the time you're sitting in front of somebody communicating the value of your product or service. Everything else is a complete waste of time.
That brings up another awesome point that I point out to almost every client I have ever worked with that has salespeople. If you have your salespeople prospecting, cold calling, marketing, doing whatever, you have to stop that right now. Right now. Because that person, like, you'll notice when, again, I use the hospital example a lot, but I could use the NFL as an example, right? The NFL of the 20s and 30s, the quarterback was also the punter and the kicker, and was on when they kicked off the ball.
And linebacker, they went both ways. Right? Yeah.
They did all kinds of different things. And he worked a part-time job in the offseason, a full-time job in the offseason, so he could eat, right? Yeah. Now they pay a guy $6 million a year just to kick the ball. Yeah. Because that guy, being focused and being the absolute best, his job is to kick that ball through the uprights when there's 5 seconds left, and that gets you to the playoffs, which means millions of dollars for the team for one game.
That's right? A fact.
What does it mean if they
get working for 5 seconds?
Exactly.
Forget the years he's practiced.
Exactly.
It comes down to 5 seconds.
Right. So they want that guy on the field to do his job when it is. Now imagine, conversely, if the team said, you know what? We're spending a lot of money on all these guys here. And our quarterback he's a rock star. He's like, he could throw the ball 60 yards in the air. Like he is awesome. We're going to save some money this year. We're going to take out the right and left tackle And we're not going to have those now, right?
Yeah.
We're going to save all that money
Yeah.
paying those guys,
Yeah.
right? How would that work out? Well,
you would have one less quarterback because he'd get killed.
Exactly. Now you've got a quarterback that, like, instead of being effective, more than anything, you're reducing his efficacy because maybe he's a good scrambler. Yeah. But now he's going to be dumping the ball off in like 2 seconds instead of 10 or 5.
Yeah, well, in the NFL, there's no such thing as a good scrambler because they don't last.
True. That's exactly right. But the point is with no line, if the quarterback hiked the ball to himself, he would get crushed every time, and you would not have a quarterback for very long.
Or if you saved money on the kicker and you brought somebody in that wasn't good for that 5 seconds and he misses, you're out of the playoffs.
That's right.
So yeah, I totally get the analogy.
$1 million and saving $6 million cost you $50 million this year. What did it cost you? Like everything else? What did it cost you in merchandise sales? What did it cost you in endorsement deals, right, for the team? What did it cost you in new stadium potential, right? All kinds of things. Winners make money, period. And winners do one thing exceptionally well. It's just the way it is. A surgeon performs surgery. He doesn't prep the room. He doesn't clean up. He comes in, everything is ready. That patient is on the table. Everything is set up. He walks in, they hand him the scalpel. That's what he does. And the hospital makes sure, because that guy is $1,500 an hour. They make sure that $1,500 an hour is spent doing the thing that gets them their biggest return, the surgery, not scrubbing the floor. That's $8 an hour, right?
Yeah, I agree.
Take that lesson to your business. That's one of the things that I consult on, actually. So,
and when it comes to is you need a team, and it comes back to the basics of work on your business, not in your business.
If there's one lesson I can tell people is your money is much better spent on your business than in your business, as is your time.
So that's the end of my questions, but I always like to end my interviews because not only do I own an outdoor brand, but I also have an agency myself. So let me ask you, in your business, what can I do? What kind of value can I bring to your business? What does your business need right now?
My business need right now, I can always use extra referrals. I can always use extra content, and I can always use a good word with people that that can use what I do well, and in return, I return the favor. I'm a big believer in I send referrals and get referrals, or I get referrals and I send referrals. It's just always been a good way to do business. But as far as that, straight out, that's the best thing that I can get from people is their good recommendation. It's the most valuable thing that I have, and I'm very appreciative of those.
Gotcha. Well, I can tell you that once we get this video published, it's going to go out on all of our social media, and that'll also go out to our email list and all the different marketing things that we do. So hopefully, if you'll tell our viewers the name of your business, your core offerings, and then how can people get a hold of you if they watch this video and they're in a place where they want to outsource their marketing for their outdoor business?
So my name is Ace Luciano. I'm a hunter, fisherman, outdoorsman, dad, and business consultant. My business is BGA Enterprises and Ace Public Relations. The best way to get a hold of me is you can reach me via email at ace@aceluciano.com, or go to my website, www.aceluciano.com. There's a button right there. It says Contact Ace. That message goes right into my email. Easy way to get a hold of me. Or you can visit me through my new clients portal, www.thebestshootingsite.com. If you want to make more money in your business, if you want to take your outdoor business to levels that you've only dreamed possible before, most importantly, if you want to reinforce and improve the performance of every other marketing method and marketing dollar that you spend, we need to talk.
Ace, that was awesome, man. I really enjoyed the conversation we had here, and you gave a lot of great value to our the people that watch our podcast.
Appreciate it. Happy to be here.
All right. Take care. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Mike. Bye, everybody.